The disused summer house was the setting for an impromptu birthday party for one of their friends.
I persuaded my parents to let me go, and they said, yes, you can go as long as you behave yourself and you're back by 12.
Robert had big plans for the night ahead.
On the way up there that night, I was talking to my mate and that, we were talking about Anne and whatever, and, I thought, yeah, try it on and see what happens.
I knew from when Robert said, do you fancy going for a walk? I had a feeling something was going to happen. It did feel nice, it did feel right, and all we could hear was the water below us and then the trees above us. It was nice, romantic.
The dark wooded path they had chosen ran alongside a 70-foot deep gorge, high above the rushing water of the Invermoriston Falls.
We're walking down by the side of the river, hand in hand and that, but you don't think anything of it because I know the area and it's all right and that. She dropped her purse in the bushes, so we were trying to find it, couldn't find it, so we had to get the lighters out and look for it. And then when the lighter went out, I couldn't see anything, because of the darkness.
And he just stepped back and he just fell.
Robert! Where are you?
And I was just like, what? He's gone. It's like poof, magic, just disappeared.
Robert!
I believed he was dead. I thought he was dead.
Robert!
Am I going to see him again, or is he going home in a wooden box? I had no idea.
Just remember my foot slipping off and curling up like that and thinking, oh my God. And then I was under the water.
Robert had tumbled over 70 feet and into the freezing water. It was 1:30 in the morning when the 999 call was made and the emergency services swung into action.
I initially thought that we could probably just be recovering a fatality from the river due to the nature of the gorge.
It took almost an hour and a half before Robert's body was spotted. He'd managed to drag himself out of the water and onto some rocks.
That was the worrying thing, that no one was going to find me and I'd be stuck down there, I suppose, to rot away.
It was impossible to reach Robert, so the specialist skills of mountain rescue were needed. By this time, Anne had been sent home and had no idea if Robert had even been found.
When that first torch shone on my face, I got the rush up your body. It was just like, yes, someone's found me and I'm going to be all right,
He was maybe coming in and out of, not consciousness, but he was just getting drowsy, and I was quite concerned about hypothermia.
Start pulling. Slow and easy.
And I heard footsteps coming down the gravel. So I peeked out and I seen it was the police.
Anne was too worried to even answer the door.
And I automatically believed that I was in trouble. I thought he was dead.
It was now 5:30 in the morning, over 4 hours since they'd had their first kiss. It had taken that long to get Robert to safety.
When I got up and swam to the side, I climbed out onto a ledge and was lying there, and my back, my coccyx, I hit them off something and it was, really sore on my shoulder. I damaged that somehow, and my ankle, and I had a big nice stab wound just next to the old crown jewels as well, so I was quite lucky, I suppose.
Certainly I wouldn't recommend it to be the best location for a first date, although I'm sure it will be a date to remember for those involved in this occasion.
But I had to take a go down there again, no. It's a daft place.
Robert escaped without serious injury, but his relationship with Anne did suffer.
I believed, not that he blamed me, but there's something there that he could never forgive me for.
That was 2 years ago, and they haven't seen each other since. Until now.
Hey Robert, how you doing?
Not bad. Oh, right.
That's it. This is where it happened.
Anywhere near that.
You're lucky, Robert. Very lucky. So the whole night I stayed up crying for you, Robert, and crying for your family, because I thought you were dead. I blamed myself quite a bit for what happened to you, actually. Because it was me that said, let's go this direction. So
I wouldn't worry.
It's come out, I've said it.
It's all right. Well, thank you anyway.
Thank you.
And so for the time being, they're happy to be just good friends.
Dating is incredibly important to people. They go into a date with their hopes and expectations and dreams, all sort of ready to either be fulfilled or dashed. And where I think a big problem lies is that very often we all have different expectations. So how can they all, match up?
A complete and utter disaster. It was the Titanic of dates.
Jane Harsham had just been asked out by the man of her dreams.
And I spent most of the day getting ready for this date that I had longed for. But as I was getting myself ready, I was getting progressively more and more nervous. And so by the time he came to pick me up, I was a complete bag of nerves.
Jane was whisked off to a restaurant where she was plied with glasses of sweet white wine.
And then we decided that we would go on to a nightclub. It was a hot summer's evening, and when we opened the doors to the nightclub, the place was heaving with people, and the noise was incredible, and the heat was incredible too. And all this added up to me feeling absolutely dreadful. And I'd been in there about 2 minutes, and I thought, I've got to get outside and get some fresh air, because I really do feel as though I'm going to faint. As he opened the door to the car park, the fresh air hit me, and I did feel a huge amount of relief, but unfortunately at that moment I blacked out, and as I blacked out I collapsed and I was sick all over him. It was just beyond belief. But he was a true gentleman. He offered to take me home, which he did, put me in the car, and he was very attentive. But my embarrassment and my humiliation were compounded by the fact that as we were leaving the car park, he was surreptitiously winding the window down to get rid of the smell.
It's not just women who fall victim to crushing disappointments.
I'd just been dumped by my girlfriend of 2 years, so that was quite hard hitting. I was feeling very lonely. And after a few weeks of looking, I eventually bumped into this girl in a nightclub. And yeah, we called each other and it was fantastic. And we arranged to go out on a date. To say I was looking forward to it is an understatement. I couldn't wait. And so I got all myself ready, hair gel, lots of aftershave, turned up, started off well, drinks, lots of fun, lots of laughter. And we're dancing away, and I went for the kiss, and we're kissing on the dance floor, snogging away. It was fantastic, felt good. And I thought, this is it, this is going well. And suddenly, completely out of the blue, she just sucked my tongue very, very hard. And when shooting, my tongue just shot into her mouth, and it ripped right at the bottom. So I rushed to the toilets, and I started spitting blood out into the sink, and it just wouldn't stop bleeding. And she basically ripped the part of my tongue that joins your tongue to your mouth. I went back out after I cleaned myself up, and she was sort of standing on the edge of the dance floor looking a bit perplexed and a bit worried. I don't know if she knew what was happening or not. And I just went up to her, I went, "You're a psycho!" and and I legged it and never spoke to her again.
In part 2, the woman whose dream date became a nightmare.
We crashed into the car in the garage door buckled up, he then just legged it.
The woman heading for blind date number 69.
I think he really does like me, and I know I'm going to disappoint him.
And the divorcee who got more than she expected.
He was eccentric to the point of madness.
Bearing in mind that people can, of course, paint false images of themselves through the internet or on chat lines, still it's the immediacy of the answer that you can get from an email or a quick conversation on chat line that people like.
I do like the woman to be feminine and friendly, caring, all the good traits really. So at the end of the day, I think everyone needs a bit of TLC.
33-year-old garage manager Steve Hayward has been single for 8 months and in an attempt to find love has turned to using chat lines.
You can just pick up the phone, you don't have to dress yourself up, you could just be sitting there in whatever you've come in. And you just, talking to somebody and take it from there, really.
He's made 15 phone calls in the last week to a woman called Jackie. Now they've decided to meet. Tonight's the big night.
I've described myself to her and she seems sort of quite impressed. We just have to wait and see, I suppose. Well, she's described herself, so I'm expecting her to be quite a small person, blonde hair, you know, and slim. So I've got this sort of picture in my head of some sort of fairly young-looking girl, because she said that a lot of people said that she looks young.
Hi, I'm 43 years young. How would I describe myself? That's a toughie. Well, I guess I'm short, cute and blue-eyed. Romantic person with a zest for life. Want to know more? Then leave me a message and I'll get back to you ASAP.
Mature student Jackie Rogers is a single mother of 3 and has been on her own since last January.
You know, obviously I'm not everybody else's taste, but fingers crossed I could be stayed.
Well, I think the worst thing that can happen is probably if she's not how she described. You know, if she looks totally different.
People say that my personality does shine from me. You know, I don't really have to try hard at it. It's just there. Now, I am hoping that Steve may be the one for me. But it might turn tables. You know, I may like him and he may not like me.
I may have to fight her off, I suppose. If I'm lucky, that is.
Physical attraction has to be there for any relationship to form.
What I've told Jackie about me is basically what my description, as I say, was 5'7", medium build, a little bit of a beer belly. You know, it's not a great one, but keeps me warm in the winter. Brown hair, which is very short, brown eyes, 40-inch chest, 33-inch waist. Once I said that lot, she seemed to quite like the sound of that.
As Jackie and Steve head off for their blind date, many other single people prefer to take a chance with a dating agency.
It is much more acceptable today, I think, to join a dating agency. But I mean, I would personally say to the general public, do be very careful and go and do your homework on it.
There's no man on the planet breathing who is worth a £400 introduction fee. No man breathing.
I began to realise that there was something going wrong here. It wasn't just me that was over-demanding or paranoid. There was a problem with this company.
Although more than 250,000 people join introduction agencies every year, for some it's still a hard decision to make. Of course, most agencies are very good, but some do generate a steady stream of complaints. 54-year-old Vera Perry had been single for 6 months when she heard about Friends introductions based in Preston.
I'd had a bad relationship. My mum had died not long before and I was feeling a little bit down. So my daughter said, well, Mum, why don't you go to this friend's place in Preston? It seems to be a reputable dating agency. And I thought, well, yeah, I'm just not going to sit here and feel sad for myself. All right, I will join this agency and just see what they can come up with.
She arranged to see them at their office, but the interview didn't go quite as expected.
I thought, this is rather strange that this is really mostly about my financial circumstances, not really about what I did or what type of man I really wanted to meet. It seemed to skirt round that major issue.
Vera was told she'd been accepted as a member and that finding a suitable match wouldn't be a problem. But there was one vital question they had yet to answer.
I asked when I first went in what's it cost to join. I said, it's no good going into all these details, Alistair, because I really don't know how much it's going to cost me. Can you give me some idea? Oh, well, we'll sort that out, Vera, as we go through it. We'll sort that out.
Vera was told to expect a 2-hour interview, but the meeting dragged on for almost 5 hours.
And I said to the lady, I really do not feel well, you know, and I didn't really want to continue, but they seemed to brush it aside and just carry on with all the spiel.
After the long meeting, they presented Vera with a contract. Desperate to leave, she signed it.
So I came out and panicked. drove all the way home and panicked.
And then she called her daughter.
I said, Karen, I've got a tremendous feeling that everything is not right with the way they're doing it. And she says, oh, well, Mum, she says, give it a whirl. She didn't know how much I'd paid. And I had paid, and I'm ashamed of saying this, £957 for 12 introductions.
Thinking she was stuck in the contract, Vera sat and waited for the dates to come flooding in.
They said about, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks before you could expect a match. But I think it was 8, 9 weeks down the line when I phoned, no match. No, they haven't yet been able to match.
Vera wasn't alone in experiencing problems with friends' introductions finding her a partner. 32-year-old Anthony Elray had just come out of a long relationship when he received a leaflet advertising friends' introductions.
I actually paid to join £1,095, plus in addition to that there was a service charge which was payable every month for £25. They actually said to me during the interview, we'll just go away and check through some of the records, and came back and said, oh no, we've plenty of people we can match you with. So I had no reason to believe at that stage that there was going to be a problem.
Anthony joined in the October, yet by the following June he'd only received 3 introductions. This was despite paying almost £1,300 during this time.
I met one person who I was told was a very good match, who within 5 minutes of meeting turned round and just said, I'm sorry, you're not my type of person, and terminated the meeting, even though I travelled 40 miles to meet her. That was very disappointing.
Friends' introductions say they personally match each member to find the best possible partner. Vera would disagree.
And he got out of the car and I thought, this cannot be him. This cannot be him on this car park. This cannot be the man. And he came across and it was. And I looked at him and I thought, I'm going to die. I'm going to shrivel and die. He was just totally, utterly scruffy, very badly dressed. His hair was an awful mess, looked like he hadn't had a bath, he'd just come out of the field. And he was eccentric to the point of madness, that's all I can say.
Friends' introductions were brought to the attention of Lancashire trading standards. Julian Edwards has been investigating some of the Preston area complaints.
We basically were concerned that without some sort of control in the way in which they operated, that even more people would be deceived, more people would be misled, and obviously that is something which we couldn't accept.
I'm not gullible, nobody usually gets one past me, but this time they did.
It's a bit of a no-win situation, because if you cancelled your membership, you lost your entire joining fee. So you felt, well, you just had to keep paying your subscription and hope things got better.
After only 3 introductions in 10 months, Vera decided enough was enough and cancelled.
As far as I could see, it was just a front to get money off people and not do anything for it.
Later on, we experienced the Friends Introductions hard sell with hidden cameras. Of course, it's not only dating agencies who make mistakes.
I've had some really bad dates in my time, but this one was the absolute pits.
25-year-old Claire White thought her luck was changing when she spotted the man of her dreams at a friend's party.
It was gorgeous, really fancied him, left his party, went outside where he'd offered to give me a lift home, got into the car, and I looked behind me. There was a police car behind us. I informed him of this. He actually panicked. I now know the reason why he panicked. It was because he'd just stolen that car there and then from outside this house. This police car's now chasing after him. I'm in the car, screaming at this guy, saying, what the hell is going on? All I did was get in this guy's car, thinking that he was going to drop me home, swap phone numbers, the usual stuff. We've not got one police car, we've now got 2 police cars chasing us, sirens on. I'm in the car, terrified. Eventually we crashed into a garage. He crashed into the car in the garage door buckled up. He then just legged it. I'm now sitting in this car, shocked, did not know what to do. I'm just sitting there, these 2 police cars screech up behind us, come out of the car, grab me, put me up against the car, search me, handcuff me, throwed me into the back of their police car where I got taken to the local police station. By By this point, I was drunk, but I was still terrified, crying my eyes out. I got put in a cell, and then I came out to face my mum and my sister. My mum wasn't too amused. And I got interviewed by the police. They actually thought that I was linked with this stolen car. Once they'd heard my story, they realised that I wasn't actually in the wrong, and I was allowed to go.
Well, I placed an ad in a singles magazine, and this one lady replied to me, and she seemed very nice in the letter. And I wrote back to her, and she called me up at work, and we went out for about 6 months. I wined her and dined her, took her to theatres and clubs and restaurants, and the ballet and opera. And then she said we was ready for a physical relationship. And a couple of weeks after that, she said if I wanted a physical relationship, it would cost me £500 each time plus our hotel room. And that's when I probably realised that she was a high-class call girl. I met another girl through the ad, but she would have become a girlfriend, but I had to pay for her rent. So I stopped that right at the beginning before it got too out of hand.
There are a lot of time wasters though. You will get people that will arrange to meet you, but won't turn up.
Steve is early for his blind date and is waiting patiently in the hope that Jackie will show. She does, but not having met before, they're relying on their descriptions to spot each other. Jackie has to do a double take before she realises that Steve's her man for the evening.
I tell you what, I feel like walking to my doom.
How you been doing? All right?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad.
Oh, God.
Better go to the hairdresser.
You did?
How did you?
Oh, all right, yeah, all right, yeah.
So far away is this pub then?
Quite far. Quite far.
And so, with an evening full of promise ahead, they begin their date. Jackie makes her mind up about Steve very quickly. And when she spots a friend, she makes a confession.
Don't lie. Don't pull any faces because I'm nice.
Steve seems to be blissfully unaware. Unfortunately, the date appears to go from bad to worse, with conversation not exactly flowing.
So I might ask them after this game if they mind if we have a game, and then they can take back home.
I don't get the urge to want to, like, pull him over the pool table.
No, I don't think she did find me attractive. You know, it's not a great loss.
Judging by some of the things he said to me, I think he really does like me, and I know I'm going to disappoint him.
But there's now a strange folk.
Yeah.
As they say.
That was funny as fuck, yeah. Sorry about that, isn't it? I expected her to look a bit younger from what she said to me.
Obviously, I'm going to tell him at the end of the night. It's only fair to. Maybe give him 2 or 3 days to get over it.
Steve did get over it, and although they managed another date, things didn't improve, and neither have seen each other since. They remain optimistic about finding love. In part 3, the lessons learnt from one blind date.
I hadn't seen a photograph of him, and I know now that that's a big mistake.
And a matchmaking experiment goes horribly wrong.
I really, really doubt that I'd ever meet him again.
No, she didn't match up to my expectations.
I did go into it with a very open mind, but at the end of it I was very disillusioned and wouldn't do it again. And wouldn't recommend that anyone did it either.
The whole thing was a disaster now you come to talk about it.
Claudia Connell is a 34-year-old freelance journalist who's been single for 3 years. She was looking forward to a blind date set up by fellow journalist and friend Neil Shawn. She even thought it might make an article.
David is the sort of typical radio DJ. I met him obviously through work. Really nice guy. I thought very boyish, very charming. And I have to say, he said he'd not got a partner. That's what gave me the idea to link him to Claudia.
I hadn't seen a photograph of him, and I know now that that's a big mistake, but I didn't realise it at the time.
I did kind of paint this picture, which I think is very accurate. I said he was a tall, dark, handsome guy. Well, dark and handsome he is.
8:15, David Prever, Wednesday morning. So tonight I've got the blind date that Neil Shawn, our showbiz guru, has set me up on. What kind of a lunatic What kind of a madman, I put it to you, goes on a blind date with a journalist from a national newspaper? I thought, well, what the hell, give it a chance. Because when your friends keep going on about somebody you should meet, you tend to think, well, they know me well. Maybe their judgment's going to be right this time.
And so they met.
I didn't fancy him. I didn't look at him and think, no.
I thought she was lovely.
He did like to talk about himself, rather. And I did sort of sense that whenever he really didn't ask me a lot of questions about myself. It was very much about him.
She was really very, very quiet. Didn't say more than 2 words. In fact, she said 5 words all evening, and they were, can we have the bill? So she was really, really quiet.
I offered to pay, but I didn't think he would accept quite so readily.
And when they left, things really didn't get any better.
Do I lunge, or do I not lunge? And I thought it was best with a Daily Mail journalist and former showbiz writer not to lunge this time around.
He said to me that Claudia lunged at him at the end. But, you know, Claudia's quite reserved. There's no way she would have done that, you know.
He did sort of go to kiss me, and I kind of offered my cheek, and I think he was going for a on-the-lips job, and it still got a bit embarrassing and lots of sort of head bumping. So I was pretty keen to get away after that.
And if Claudia thought it couldn't get any worse...
If you want to play Battle of the Sexes, then give us a call right now, 08000 96106.
Next morning, he went on radio and told 1 million people that he didn't fancy me. Yeah.
So I had the date last night with Claudia Connell. She took me to home house.
With the possibility of Claudia writing an article on their date, David had decided to get in first.
Correspondent. To answer your questions this morning, and I was going to be a gentleman and not talk about it, but we had a lovely evening, but I have to say this time around, no chemistry. I probably shouldn't have done it, but I thought it was an open playing field. I thought if she was writing about me in the national newspaper, then it would be okay to talk about the date on radio.
So, would Claudia do a hatchet job in return?
When I actually read Claudia's column in the paper, I actually thought that she was quite kind about David. If you'd have done that to me, I probably would have been really hard, actually. I don't think he'd be speaking to me again.
I was surprised that he didn't feel able to tell me that, you know, that he didn't fancy me, that there wasn't any spark, but yet he could go on air the next morning and tell, you know, 1 million strangers that.
Claudia is great, but she's just not the one for me, I'm afraid. Not this time.
If you can't count on your friends, are the personal ads any more reliable?
I think when people read the ads, I think part of the problem is they're reading part of what they want into the ads. You know, because it's only a few words sometimes there, but nevertheless, you can give them a certain interpretation and think, that's my ideal person.
To find out just how honest we are when describing ourselves in an advert, we invited 40 single people along to an event where we asked them not only to write an ad, but also to choose someone they would like to meet just from reading the descriptions. They don't get to meet up with their chosen one until we introduce them in our separate dating area. So, how truthful will people be? This is 20-year-old finance executive Priscilla Pierre. She was struck by an ad with a fairy tale twist. That belonged to 23-year-old recruitment consultant Ed Finch.
I think my description is accurate, but it's also very brief, so there's a lot I have left unsaid.
Well, I must admit, when we were looking through the ads, the cuddly bit wasn't slightly off-putting, because that could be some disguise for being sizable.
From looking at the advert, it seems that he's got a good sense of humour.
She's probably quite witty, big breasts and blonde hair.
He doesn't know anything about me, and we don't know if we'll get on at all.
My nightmare woman would be 5 feet tall, black hair, feisty.
Human behaviour expert Jeffrey Beattie will be analysing their reactions when they meet for the very first time.
Hi.
Hello, how you doing?
Thanks, hi.
Good.
Well, there's a lot of polite smiling when these two meet. You know, smiling doesn't necessarily mean that someone's enjoying themselves. It's a very common cover-up that people use to cover negative emotional expression. And when you can see that when Ed's talking about his drinking, you will see a pretty negative expression by Scylla.
So at the moment I seem to be friendly drunk, which is a bit bad, but and that's actually even at work. During work hours as well. Priscilla, isn't it? I'll come and introduce a couple of my mates. So, it's Priscilla, isn't it?
When they actually get back to the bar, you can see that Ed's kind of moved on from Priscilla. He's back with some male friends, and he's making absolutely no effort to involve Priscilla in the conversation at all. She's just now excluded.
Not bad, you know.
You can also see from her facial expressions and her micro expressions on her face that she's not happy with the situation.
No, I've got wires under here.
This is a relationship which I predicted wasn't going to go well, and you can see now that the relationship's just dead.
But for them, how did the reality compare with the expectation?
Initially, I was going to come out with sort of face disgust, thinking because it wasn't what I was expecting.
Right now, from just meeting him, I don't think we've got much in common at all.
I could see why she would call herself cuddly, but I won't comment on that. And she's not intelligent.
He wanted to know about my private life and if I had a dark history, things like that, you know, about previous relationships. It was like an interview.
I'm not a sort of nasty person. I'm sure she's lovely and got fine qualities, but none of which I'd like to get to know.
I really, really doubt that I'd ever meet him again, and I'm very happy with that.
This is 27-year-old Rahil Puri. He was attracted by an ad which sounded like it had a lot to offer. That belonged to 28-year-old Sammy Harris.
Well, he sounds very nice. I mean, the qualities of... He kind of starts off with saying he's honest and caring.
I put a few white lies in. I did put a white line because I thought women want to hear certain things, and if I say the wrong thing, I'm not going to get anywhere.
I hate people who, you know, a man who's too materialistic, you know, wanting... It can only be this kind of jumper or this kind of car.
I am slightly materialistic. I do want my Ferrari.
It has to be someone who would, you know, stimulate mind, body and soul.
Someone that likes to wear makeup, likes to paint their toenails. It's what I like.
It's that kind of small man thing that I actually find really attractive.
It's very rare, I think, you're going to meet someone who's normal. And if you do, then you're very lucky.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
So how will they get on when they meet for the very first time?
I've just kissed twice.
Oh, so we're friends now, are we?
Yeah, very friends.
Well, this is a really interesting couple because here are two people who get on very well. They interrupt each other, but interruptions are sometimes a really positive form of behaviour. Very hard to work out. No, it's good though. There's no point, you know, knowing something.
No, I like both.
And they're interrupting each other because they're so kind of involved in the talk, and that was interesting there. Because at that precise moment, they both kind of scratched their head at exactly the same time. And I think here are two people who are really getting on extremely well. All of their behaviours indicate that.
What happens when they get to the bar?
I thought I had a
Are you too cool?
The big test of any relationship, of course, comes when other people come on the scene, all those other distractions.
He does this sometimes, right? He'll say a big word just to, like, you know, throw you. No, I'm not trying to throw you.
And it's interesting here that Rahil and Sammy are mimicking each other's posture even when a third person joins them.
Yeah.
So this is a couple whose relationship hasn't been affected by the presence of others.
But do they match up to each other's expectations?
I think I fit into a group of girls that he would fancy.
The truth, no, she didn't match up to my expectations.
He was so sort of honest about what he wanted.
I'm definitely going to ask her out, but I think she'll say no.
In part 4, a national hero's pre-date paranoia.
She'll probably take one look at me and run out of the cafe.
And we go undercover to reveal a dating agency's hard sell.
Well, don't tell them what it costs then. No reason to tell her, is there?
This is 37-year-old law student Michael Edwards. He has a secret past. Back in the 80s, he was better known as Eddie the Eagle. But these days, he prefers to keep that quiet, for fear that women would only want him for one thing.
I suppose the women who are looking for fame type of thing might think, oh, it might be a bit of a stepping stone, you know, might be seen out with the right people if they go out with me type of thing. So there's an element of that, but they're usually so transparent You can see them coming a mile off.
So, in an attempt to find true love, Eddie turned to the Lonely Hearts columns. But he decided to place not just one, but two. One regular,
athletic, affectionate and fun-loving 37-year-old mature student who would like to meet a caring, sharing female for possible long-term relationship.
and one explaining his finer points.
Aesthetically challenged guy who not only fell out of the ugly tree, but hit every branch on the way down. Looking for a woman with a pulse, for a long-term relationship, at least I'm fit, healthy and solvent.
Just how many responses would he get?
I've received these 2 envelopes this morning from the newspapers, and they both refer to the ugly tree one, the funny one. So that's that's nice to know that my funny one got a better response. Let's have a look. Let's see what's happened. This is scary stuff. Right. As I was reading your ad today, a smile tickled my face. Oh, bless.
There's one letter that shines out, and Eddie makes a date.
Crikey, 3 pages.
Not telling her that he's a national treasure, of course. The day of the date dawns, and Eddie's feeling anxious.
She'll probably take one look at me and run out of the cafe and say, I'm not going out with that moose.
What type of woman is it that replies to an ad which says the writer is ugly? Meet 47-year-old Louise Reeves.
I thought that anybody that had the personality to write an ad like that and the sense of humour, irrespective of whether they were as challenged as the ad made out, just had to be worth a response.
I've heard it's been used as a good chat-up line. You know, people who look like me and they say, oh, are you Eddie the Eagle? And they say, yeah, of course I am. And they've used it as a bit of a chat-up line. But I have never done that, so, and I never would.
Secretly, I'm hoping that he's not a total gnome, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'm sort of strategically placed between the front door and the back door, so as soon as I see her, I can make a quick exit if I want to.
He may be absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Eddie.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm fine, are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Oh, did you find it okay?
Just about. She's a lot older than I was anticipating.
So what do you do for your leisure activity?
I go skiing, I do sport, go to the gym, go running.
He actually reminded me of Eddie the Eagle.
Crikey, really?
I thought, no, I won't be rude and say, oh, you look just like Eddie the Eagle, but he does.
She might have been surprised that I wasn't as ugly as I said in the thingy. Maybe.
I've always gone for personality. I don't know that I'd respond to any more newspaper ads because I don't necessarily think that the people that are advertising in them are always genuine.
Yeah, well, it's lovely meeting you.
And you too. You too.
A little disappointed that, you know, I didn't get 40 or 50 replies and I didn't meet some gorgeous young woman who we'd click, we'd connect and fall madly in love with. But that's, you know, I'm 37 and I've never met that person yet.
Eddie finally did come clean and tell Louise of his notoriety. But for some people, the urge to impress is just too difficult to resist.
Well, I've been after this girl for about 2 months, probably. Swedish, really good looking. And I thought I'd be really classy and take her to a really nice restaurant in London. Something a bit different from the usual, you know, steak and kidney pie, which I'm normally used to.
22-year-old advertising executive Dan Green was set to impress. He persuaded his date to have soup of the day, a soup which he said he'd enjoyed many times before.
It looked really nice. It was like a vegetable soup, that's what I'm used to. Started, and it was cold, stone cold, not even lukewarm. And asked Lisa, and hers was the same. She looked at me a bit baffled. So, you know, called the waitress over. Excuse me? And the whole restaurant went silent. So I said, excuse me, I said, this soup's cold. I said, my girlfriend's is cold. I said, it's not even lukewarm. It's like a set up a tin, you know, you bought it in the supermarket. I'm paying, you know, a fair decent price for this. I was literally showing off, to be honest, in front of this girl, you know. At which point she said, it's gazpacho. I said, yeah, I know what it is, it's Italian soup. And she said, yes, but it's supposed to be served cold. At which point everyone looked away, and I'm sure they had quite a smirk on me. Needless to say, I haven't got a forwarding address for Lisa. I think she's now gone back to Sweden. Probably left with the impression that London men are losers.
We're back with friends' introductions. One of the main areas of complaint which Trading Standards received was about their hard sell. We sent in actress Belinda Chapman with a hidden camera to find out just what it's like to be on the receiving end.
It's on. Yeah. It's quite a wide angle, so it's not crucial where you point it.
They're dealing with vulnerable people. If they're employing salesmen, there is always the possibility that the salesman may go over the top, may push things further than he perhaps should do, may persuade when he ought to be reassuring.
Our actress was prepared for a long meeting. Her story was to be that she was interested in joining, but would want to talk it over with her sister first. Not an unreasonable request, you'd think.
Now, Friends Introductions doesn't accept everybody, and part of my job is to screen and qualify as a potential member.
47-year-old Judith Slater is one woman who has bad memories of their hard sales technique.
I got the impression he just wanted my money up front first before anything else. He made me feel as though anybody would do. You know, I didn't have a choice in who I wanted to meet.
After an hour of questioning our actress, they accept her as a member and finally tell her the cost.
This one's £6.95 and that one's £9.95. Obviously there's a difference in introductions and the monthly memberships which you only pay for as long as you wish to stay with us.
The programme she tries to sell Belinda is £695 for just 6 introductions, plus an extra £29.99 per month.
Still a lot more than I thought.
You know what I mean? Downside for Linda, aren't you? You're not looking forward to it. You've got to look forward to going out and meeting these people.
Yeah.
You've got to be positive and think, look forward to it, not be negative. You're not going out on one yet. But give it a go. Don't be negative, really. You're thinking negative, really, aren't you? That it's not going to work.
I suppose I'm just taken aback because I just,
you're being,
you know,
you're looking on the downside rather than the
I just
upside,
thought,
aren't you?
I thought, you know,
what could be nicer than knowing that you're going out on a date, getting dressed up to go out.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing better than knowing that you're going out with a man for a nice evening. Let's be positive.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to go out to introductions. What if you meet the love of your life? And we've sat here now and you've been like, oh, I don't know what to do. And you've met the right person. How are you going to feel?
He kept saying that, isn't my happiness worth this amount of money? You could just stick it on your credit card.
You can't put any value on it, can you? There's no value you can put whatsoever. You know, you've never done this before.
Put it like that, I suppose.
You can't compare it to anything. It's like buying a settee or a new carpet.
Yeah.
This is, you know, buying you a better, not just a quality of life, but a bit more excitement in your life, isn't it?
After almost 2 hours of persuasion, Belinda makes a polite request.
And can I not just go home tonight and give you a ring in the morning? Just talk it over with Sandra.
We wouldn't actually hold it.
Just hold it for 24 hours.
We don't. It's against the rules. They won't let it, especially if you've been like the second time, the third time. You'd have to come in again.
When I wanted to discuss it with my friend, that, you know, he wouldn't let me. Sort of...
Another tack. She wants to talk it over with her sister. Surely there couldn't be a problem with that.
What can she say to you that's going to change things? What's she going to actually say?
She might just say it's too much money.
She's not doing anything for you. You're doing it. It's got to be for you. It's not her who's doing it. You're going out on the introductions. You have to be pleased from the downside. You've got to be pleased that you may be going out and meeting this man.
Oh yeah, I'm quite excited about all that.
You know, I mean, as I say, we know we can match. We know
it's just she made me promise. Because
it's not her who's doing it though, is it?
I am a bit of a spendthrift actually. I think she made me promise that this time I wouldn't come home with.
But what's she going to say that's going to change your mind? I mean, do you want to go out on some introductions?
I do.
But what can she say that's going to sway you?
I know I can talk around, but she's just going to go mad with me.
Well, don't tell her. Don't tell her how much it costs then. As long as you're happy to meet these people, there's no reason to tell her. Something that's really, I know she's your sister, and you're probably very close. Don't tell her.
Belinda eventually makes her excuses and leaves without pay.
It is a very hard sell, and that's her job. But what is very questionable about the fact that it's a huge amount of money and they just don't give you the time to go away and think about it. Because they know you go away and think about it, you're not going to spend that much money.
We wrote to Friends Introductions asking them to comment on our investigation. They refused. So we decided to ask their director face to face.
Miss Southworth from London Weekend Television. I wonder if you can ask me some questions about Friends Introductions.
I couldn't at the moment, I'm a bit in a rush actually.
Well, can you just tell me, Miss Southworth, because you're a company director, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could tell me, we know of customers of yours who have paid over £1,000 yet only received 3 dates in 10 months. You tell these people that when they meet someone, they'll meet someone every 4 to 6 weeks, Mrs. Southworth.
Like many of their customers, we couldn't get any satisfaction either.